Hello family and friends, hope you're all doing well. So it is the week between Christmas and New Year's 2024, and we've got some time and decided that we were going to make one of our favorite appetizers. So tonight we're going to make Gougere. So what Gougere are, for those of you that don't know or haven't had them at our house, they're like a French savory puff pastry. That's not even right. They're like a cream puff, like a French savory cream puff. And instead of using sugar, you use like a Swiss cheese. And today we're going to be using a cheese called Comte, which is a French Swiss. It's really good. It's got a lot of good flavor. You could use Gruyere, but something in that Swiss cheese family. My mixture here, as you can see, is ready for me to make this dough, so I have to make this quick. Very simple ingredients. It's a half a cup of butter, half a stick of butter, half a cup of milk, half a cup of water, and a pinch of salt, a nice pinch of salt. You put it in a pot and you bring it to a low boil. And once the butter is melted, you cut the butter up. It's, like I said, 4 ounces is half a stick. And you get it in here with the liquid, and then you add a cup of flour. And what you're trying to do here, and traditional pastry chefs have it all over me on this, so, is you're gonna stir this flour in and cook it a little bit in the hot mixture until the everything kind of forms a dough and gets well incorporated and starts to dry out. And you'll see right now it's starting to dry out and come away from the pan. I'm going to turn the heat off here and keep stirring this so that the flour is nicely incorporated with the butter, the milk, and the water. And you can see a dough is forming. And so you just take everything off the side of the pot, off the bottom of the pot, and now you've got this kind of nice dry mixture. The reason you're doing this is so that this dough, the beginnings of a dough, is dry enough so that later on it'll accept some eggs. So with that, we're gonna move it over. Paul's gonna follow me with the camera. We're gonna move it over to our second station over here, which is our stand mixer. So come around here, and I'm gonna put the dough into the stand mixer. And you can see it's smoking a little bit. We're gonna let that dough rest in there for about 5 minutes or so until it cools down a little bit, enough to start to accept the eggs and a couple of other ingredients that we've got to put in to make the final Gougere dough. So let's let this rest for a little bit, and I'll be back with step 2, adding the eggs and finalizing the dough. See you in a few. So as you can see, the first part of this dough can go relatively quickly. And so just be aware of that when you're bringing that mixture up to temp. That once, you know, it's going and it's brought up to a boil, and then you put the flour in, you're gonna have to stir really hard and work fast to make it get all incorporated and not scorch it on the bottom of the pan. And you bring it over, you put it in your mixer. If you only have a handheld mixer, that's fine. Put it in a bowl with a paddle, or you know, your beaters. And then we've got to add some other ingredients. So we have 4 eggs here. They've been cracked. I pre-cracked them. Make sure you do that so one bad egg can ruin the bunch. But 4 eggs. We have some pepper, regular black pepper. You could use white if you want. Some nutmeg and a little bit of cayenne. If you don't want any cayenne for any kind of heated oil, you can leave that out. I have about a big pinch of each in here that we're going to add, and a cup of the shredded Comte or Swiss cheese that you have. That's going to go into the batter as well. So if you were doing a cream puff, you'd be putting sugar into the mixture over on the stove. But since this is a savory appetizer, we're going to add the cheese. And in a traditional cream puff pastry, you probably see a little bit more butter. In this recipe, it's only the 4 tablespoons, I think, to offset the cheese that's going in there and make the dough nice and cohesive. So we're going to turn this on. It's gonna take a little bit, but we're gonna go 1 egg at a time until they're incorporated into the dough. So we don't want to add them all at once because the dough has to have the time to accept each egg. And if we do them all at once, the dough is not gonna do that. So you'll see it's a little bit chunky. It kind of looks like it's not right. That is what you want. And as we go, you'll see that the dough is gonna get more cohesive and it's gonna start to look better. So there's our first one, looking pretty good. Put it up. That was not good, but oh well. We're gonna deal with it. We really should be putting them in one at a time. But I think we'll be fine. Yeah, it's looking good. And you can see the color of the dough is, you know, because it didn't have anything much in it. The butter didn't give it a lot of color before, but you can see it's turning a nice golden color. That's really nice. And that'll be what your final Gougere are going to have, that nice color and be nice and golden brown from being in the oven. And then we'll put our last one. And then we're gonna add our seasonings, put them in there. If you have white pepper, like I said, you could use that. I don't think it's gonna change the taste if you don't want to see the black flecks, but they're hardly noticeable. The nutmeg gives it a nice aroma too. And then we're gonna add our cheese. Whoop. Get that all in there. Slow it down a bit. See now, it really looks like a beautiful, soft and subtle pate choux, as they say in French. So with this, we're going to turn this off, scrape it down a little bit, and the next step is going to be actually forming our Gougere. So I will meet you over at the kitchen table. See you in a bit. So this is our finished Gougere dough, all ready to be scooped out and baked off in the oven. So what we're gonna do is I have a 1 tablespoon scoop here. The recipe calls for 28 Gougere from this dough. So we'll be putting 14 on this rack, 14 on that rack. The oven is set at 400. We're gonna bake off 1 rack at a time for 22 minutes because we have the luxury of time, we can do that. If you put them both in at the same time, probably your lower rack will have to cook a little longer and the top rack will get done first. So they're not, unless you have a really good oven, then they'll probably be perfect. But in my oven, better if I do it 1 at a time. I'll do a couple here. I'll show you the process and then we'll get them finished in the oven and we'll show you what they look like when they come out. So basically just take my scoop. Now you can pipe if you want. If you're good at piping, you can put this dough right into a piping bag and just pipe them off that way. I'm not good with a piping bag. You could also use 2 spoons and kind of, you know, get a tablespoon and kind of take it off the spoon and do them that way as well. I like the scoop. It's nice and easy and the dough is perfect with it. So we're just gonna scoop. And there's our little Gougere. Get another one just to show you. Again, also you're putting them on parchment paper. That's important. Make sure you put them on parchment paper. Then you take a little bit of your grated cheese, your grated Comte, and you just put a little bit on the top of each one. And that's gonna make them extra cheesy and delicious. So we're gonna do that 14 times. Get that in the oven and get them baking off, and then I'll do the second and we'll show you what they look like when they come out of the oven and they're ready to eat. So Gougere step 3 in process. We'll see you in a bit again. Okay, here's our first batch of Gougere ready to go in the oven. As you can see, we made 14 and they're all dusted with the extra cheese. So here they go, 400 degrees for 22 minutes. Mm-mm. All right, the Gougere first batch are out of the oven and they look beautiful. You know, pate choux in French means little cabbage. And these, I guess maybe that's why they call it that, because they kind of look like a little cabbage, but perfectly puffy and round and beautiful bottom, little crust on the outside. And then if you break into one of these puppies, you see the steaming, delicious, actually hot dough on the inside. And look how beautiful that looks. Right? You can see how, if you were doing a sweet version, that this would be a nice place to put some cream puff cream. Anyway, they are gorgeous. You can serve them hot, just like this, with your favorite white wine. You can let them come to room temperature, plate them up on a beautiful platter, and put them out as a wonderful appetizer. You can even keep them in the fridge till the next day, nuke them just a little bit, about 30 seconds, and they'll be beautiful again. Or you can freeze them according to the recipe, although we never do because 28 Gougere does not last in this house. This is a real treat for us. I hope it is for you too. From my recipe box to yours, Gougere. I hope you try the recipe and enjoy them as much as we do. Everybody take care. Love you a lot. Till the next time. Bye-bye.